policy that actually grants the rights of all these immigrants and at the same time doesn't promote more immigrants to take advantage of this policy that give immigrants a wonderful life that everybody wants, rightfully. So I think to think in the solution is, for me, is the key factor.
Je ne suis pas du tout convaincu par le fait que le ressort économique est le ressort principal des migrations. Les chiffres tendraient à le montrer. Encore une fois, les principaux mouvements migratoires ne sont pas d'abord et avant tout des mouvements migratoires du sud vers le nord, mais sont principalement des mouvements migratoires sud-sud. Même si un certain nombre de migrants, à l'évidence, viennent en Europe et en France en particulier. Alors, lorsqu'ils viennent en France, en Europe et en France en particulier, est-ce pour jouir de prestations sociales ou de niveau de vie supposément très largement supérieurs à celui qui était le leur auparavant? Je pense que vous négligez un point très important, qui est que pour un certain nombre de migrants, y compris des migrants économiques, et pour la première génération, l'arrivée dans un pays étranger des États membres de l'Union européenne, France ou ailleurs, se traduit d'abord pour eux par une disqualification professionnelle, une disqualification salariale et une disqualification sociale qui fait que parfois ils occupent socialement et symboliquement des places qui sont éventuellement inférieures à celles qu'ils pouvaient occuper antérieurement dans leur pays d'origine. Des études ont été faites par exemple notamment dans le camp de Sangatte par un certain nombre de sociologues qui montraient qu'une bonne partie de ceux qui occupaient ces camps étaient dans leur pays d'origine, non pas les plus pauvres, mais avaient au contraire parfois fait des études supérieures et disposaient de diplômes qui évidemment n'étaient pas reconnus dans les pays dans lesquels ils arrivaient, ce qui a été parfois, au fond, qualifié par un chercheur qui travaillait sur ces questions comme une sorte de délocalisation sur place, c'est-à-dire le fait que celles et ceux qui émigrent, encore une fois, se trouvent confrontés à des situations sociales, des situations salariales et des situations d'exploitation qui sont sans commune mesure avec celles des nationaux. Ce qui permet aussi en partie de répondre à l'argument, j'entends bien que vous ne le partagez sans doute pas, sur le fait que les étrangers non européens, ou dans le cas de l'Espagne, ne venant pas d'Amérique latine, sont supposés prendre les emplois des nationaux. L'ensemble des statistiques mobilisables, notamment en France, prouvent qu'il n'en est rien, puisque la plupart des migrants occupent entre autres toute une série d'activités professionnelles qui sont, pour des raisons salariales, pour des raisons de pénibilité du travail et pour des raisons de représentation des travaux, partiellement, voire totalement abandonnés par les nationaux.
I'm a little concerned
Okay, that's right. Well, I'm not, well, Mr. Renaud said that he is not convinced that the economic factor reason could be the main reason for the migration. Since the reality, the fact is, when you look at the international or the migration in the world, the main migration group are not from the south to the north, but from south to other South country, which has been statistically shown. And of course, you can find part of this migration come to Europe and to France. And well, is it true that they just come here for better social protection or a better material life? Should be examined more carefully, since the field work show that most of the migrants, especially the first generation of migrants, when they come to this European or so-called developed country, they generally went or go through a downgrade of their social status, or where often their qualification, which gave them a certain social status and security in their life in the country of origin, no longer are recognized, and they were not the poorest people in the country of their origin, and the reality is that when they come to the developed country, they often have to accept this kind of downgrade of their social situation, and which expose them to a lot of discrimination, social or for the salary or for the different kind of exploitation. So the idea that maybe you do not share, but the statistics shows that the people from the immigrant which took the jobs of the locals, it's kind of myth, because the statistics shows that most of the immigrants accept the works that no longer, or partially, or even totally no longer accepted or by the locals. So, well, I think the point is that we should look at the situation of the migrants.
Yeah, just to follow up, there are like two types of immigrants. Those that, for example, came from Syria. Many of them had qualifications.
So they're refugees.
They were professionals. Yes, refugees.
They're called refugees. They're not immigrants.
Yes,
Yes.
refugees. Sorry, yes.
Another point which is quite interesting, I'm sorry, which is quite interesting is when you speak in French, you talk about immigrants, and migrant. The migrant is one of very strange words, since we qualify the people in an unstable situation as if their job, their life is to migrate, but where, and to go where? Well, so when you talk about Syrians, you should talk about refugees.
Yeah.
There's something about that.
I'm sorry.
We use, sorry.
Yes,
no, it's fine.
Just a very brief remark on that. When we pass in the French usual vocabulary from not so much immigrant but immigré to migrant, it's the shifting from one to another. It's a very crucial meaning, because when you say immigré, it might suggest that this person has a vocation to stay in the country for more or less long time. But when you say migrant, it's clear that these people have to go away. This is the difference.
Yes.
Migrant is absolutely a migrant. People are not supposed to have any status. So they are on their way to whatever, but they are on their way. Their vocation is to go out, to leave the country. And this is a big change. We were used to live with immigrants, so people from whatever. So, and because they were workers, so they stayed as workers, they have to stay. Maybe someday they will go home, but they stay for a certain time, or maybe forever. But migrants, no, they're just floating.
But now you have many migrant workers, right?
Not that much.
No?
Because the working system, or
But this is
maybe
not French.
some illegal
It's
work.
not French.
Yes, illegal one, because the working system, I mean, the system, the security system, the social security system in France, made that you cannot have officially any migrant worker. So they all are illegal, in illegal situation, which
precarious.
Or maybe you have some seasonal one for the vendange, where you have maybe some Western European they come to France and some other country, Spain, to work for a season, for just 1, 2, 3 months. But I mean, legal. So you said there's two different.
Yeah, about
you're going to
the
say
migrants that
two
go
different.
in the education with
You're making a distinction between
with a
those.
profession. Indeed, there is also I have a moral dilemma because those are precisely the people who should help the more in their own countries to rise the country up again. So if we take them for our own benefit in the Western countries, we are doing a very bad thing for the home countries. So that is a moral dilemma as well.
But you can imagine that maybe there's a reason that why they left their country, since the country is no longer safe.
But
That's
then the
the main
country
reason.
will never be safe and better if we take their risks.
When they come here, maybe they can stay and they can make other weapons, so that one day they can go back to help the country. Why not you trying to consider this kind of possibility? I mean, since it's better to still have their life safe and develop a life and a capability and maybe some. You never know. Maybe they can help their country with better situation after their life in Europe. No, you never think that's possible.
Juste ajouter quelque chose, c'est que la situation est aussi plus paradoxale que cela. C'est-à-dire que ça ne concerne pas uniquement la France, c'est que la plupart des États européens, notamment en Afrique, mais pas exclusivement, Afrique subsaharienne et Moyen-Orient et Afrique du Nord, sont amenés pour des raisons économiques, pour des raisons politiques, pour des raisons militaires, pour des raisons géopolitiques, à soutenir des gouvernements autoritaires, voire dictatoriaux, totalement corrompus, et qui créent toutes les conditions, ces gouvernements soutenus par les États membres de l'Union européenne, qui créent toutes les conditions à la fois politiques, économiques, sociales et financières, qui contribuent effectivement au mouvement migratoire.
Well, another paradox that maybe it's interesting to note is that the European authorities are helping many governments in the different region of the migration region who are creating the condition for this migration, since they are generally corrupted and inefficacious in their government. So it's which, as I interpret this observation, that as a government, as a public policy, maybe if you want to help these countries, maybe you help them to choose another kind of government than those they have, those we support today.
Un exemple qui est celui de l'Algérie, qui pour toute une série de raisons obsède les autorités publiques françaises. Au début des mouvements en Algérie, une des grandes craintes dans la poursuite, lorsque le président Bouteflika entendait se maintenir au pouvoir, était que la dégradation de la situation politique allait contribuer à l'aggravation de la situation économique et sociale et que cela allait générer des mouvements migratoires très importants vers la France. Or, pour le moment, d'une part, les mouvements de contestation continuent, et alors c'est sans doute pour le moment très marginal, mais si la situation tendait à se stabiliser d'un point de vue démocratique, on assiste pour le moment au fait que les Algériens résidant en France retournent de façon très régulière en Algérie pour participer aux manifestations, et un certain nombre d'entre eux disent, si effectivement nous obtenons satisfaction en matière d'élections libres, démocratiques et pluralistes, ces gens qui sont installés en France parfois depuis très longtemps disent « nous retournerons en Algérie ».
Well, another example to illustrate this situation is Algeria. Since the beginning of the social movement today. One of the fear for the French government, French authority, to consider whether they should continue to support the old leader, Bouteflika, or not, is that the situation could, with him gone, the situation could turn to be a chaotic, which prevail for, which can push the people to migrate towards the France, which is the fear. So, but the situation now is the contrary, since a lot of immigrants in France, Algerian immigrants to France, go back to their country and participate in this democratic transition of their country, and with a perspective of a better situation for their country, they intend to go back to the country and to take part in what you call the construction for their country.
Indeed, in Spain, sorry, just to finish with the topic. In Spain, we have a lot of migration to other European countries. Hundreds of thousands of Spanish people have left Spain to other countries, and we call it a brain drain, because we are losing our best, and we don't have doctors in Spain anymore. We have paid for the education, the whole system. We have paid for the education, and now other countries are enjoying it. They might come back maybe in 10 or 20 years, but they have not been paying taxes in Spain for those 20 years. And one day they will find that they cannot get a pension, so maybe they will stay in their countries, they will not come back to Spain. They already formed family there. Their kids are from there, not from Spain. So I don't really buy that theory that we are giving them a chance to then go back in the future and rebuild their country. I think it's a brain drain more than the other part, but maybe both things.
Yeah, I'll just raise an opposite example. Now, Africa are favorably looking for, maybe ready for taking off or something like that. There are several, maybe 4 of major factors. One of them, remittance.
What's
remittance? What?
Remittance.
Remittance.
The money
Yeah.
that comes. Yeah.
Those Africans go to the United States, go to Europe, and then they send you money back, and that's one factor. In Africa's economies, going to take off also. One reflection, because I'm from sociology, and so now I'm reflecting so-called American sociology. Particularly the Chicago School of study every corner of big cities. In the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, are actually all stories, volume after volumes of those immigrants. Firstly coming from Polish peasants, and then Irish people, and then Italian, and then Greek, and then Vietnamese or other people. And then so we have the sociological sense of each of these newly immigrant were mostly discriminated against. Every newcomers are on the letters discriminated against. But 2 or 3 generations later, no more. Maybe there's a newcomers, but 2 or 3 generations of those Polish, Irish, or something, they are no longer, accepted. In American sociology, we know that, except black Americans.
Yes.
Yes. Black Americans comes most early through the slave system, right? But they are still
Arabs in France.
Right?
Arabs in blacks in the US and Arabs in France.
In France.
Yes, because we have immigration from people from Maghreb for a long time, and the prejudices are always the same. Does not change. So time does not place any, let's say, pacifying role as far as Arabs are concerned. People from Spain, Italy, from Portugal, not only Poles, many Poles came at the beginning of the 20th century, for mining gold in the northern part of Rome. Okay, it's exactly the process we are describing, two regeneration over that Arabs don't. No.
Juste un point, parce que la situation me paraît plus complexe que celle-là. J'avais étudié, donc, mais j'ai écrit un article sur le sujet, j'ai pas les chiffres là en tête, mais les proportions à peu près. Il n'est pas complètement vrai, enfin c'est un élément de la réalité, mais c'est pas toute la réalité. Les transferts d'argent des populations immigrées en France, Mali, Maroc et Afrique de l'Ouest sont dans certains cas à ce point importants, ces transferts d'argent, que cela représente dans certains villages 40 voire 50% des revenus transférés. Autrement dit, ces migrants contribuent, en s'infligeant à eux-mêmes des conditions de vie en France extrêmement dures, contribuent au développement de leur village, de leur famille, et permettent parfois à leurs enfants de rester au pays, de poursuivre des études dans les pays d'origine. Et les montants de ces transferts d'argent via les immigrés vers leur pays d'origine, en ce qui concerne la France, étaient supérieurs à l'aide publique accordée par la France aux dix pays. Donc ça porte sur des milliards et des milliards. Il y avait même d'ailleurs des projets en Europe visant à faire en sorte que ces transferts d'argent soient beaucoup moins coûteux pour les immigrés qui passent jusqu'à présent et aujourd'hui par des officines privées qui gagnent elles aussi, MoneyGram and so on, qui gagnent des sommes d'argent colossales sur le dos donc des plus pauvres et de ceux qui envoient encore une fois des sommes d'argent considérables dans leur pays d'origine.
Well, to show the complexity of the situation, another example that Mr. have studied is the money transfer from the immigrants in France towards their own country or their village in different countries such as Mali or Morocco. And the statistics shows that this transfer, this money transfer, could be 40 or even 50% of the revenue of their villages, which means that by working hard in France, in the immigration country, by maybe by working hard, by accepting some sacrifices in their newly immigrant life, they contribute to their village life, to maybe the children left in the country or the others. And the statistics shows that the totality of this money transfer could have the same value as the national, the public aid for 10 countries, which means that it's a huge amount of money. And it has been studied the cost for this transfer of money by this private person, which has been operated by different organism or system, are huge too, which means that they are earning a lot of money just on the shoulder of the poor but hard-working people, which is quite unfair.
But at the same time, that is very bad for the French economy. They are losing all that money from the French economy. I mean, I'm talking about reasons why people hate this.
Where do you want that money to go from?
No, I don't say I want it. I think it's very good for the families of these people in Africa or in South America. Many South American immigrants in Spain, they send money back. I think it's wonderful. I mean, it's great. It's a form of redistribution economic redistribution in the world.
Yes.
But I mean, from a selfish point of view, it's really bad for the Spanish economy because it's money that is not expended in the Spanish economy. It's money that is flying away.
And he's actually, I think he is explaining why there are so many
Xenophobia,
right-wing, self-preservative,
yes, populism.
very xenophobic sentiments in Europe, not only in Spain or in France, but in
But
other
in Europe.
Also in India, I think people are really resistant against Bangladesh immigrants,
Immigrant workers.
but they want to push them out.
Yes.
Where do they go? So, but let's hear other students' comment or question. Yeah.
I think one of the Olivier Le Cour从
也不用发我简单讲，然后你再帮忙翻译。
Il y a pas relation avec votre présentation aujourd'hui, mais peut-être oui, on vote dans le livre que tu discutes le code indigène. Ouais, je pense que c'est une question très importante parce que dans cette code, l'indigène est considéré comme le sujet foncé, mais pas de droit de citoyen. Ouais. C'est peut-être, on pensait le mot de Agamben, c'est une état d'exception, mais je pense que c'est une autre façon de l'état d'exception parce que selon Agamben, selon Agamben, le pouvoir de l'État démarrer dans l'état d'urgence. Mais dans la colonie, je pense que le pouvoir de l'État est démarré par le racisme. Je pense que c'est un peu différent. Donc, voilà. C'est pourquoi le professeur joue et discute le camp. Mais tu dis c'est la période de la guerre. Mais dans la colonie, comme je dis, dans la colonie, l'état d'exception il est actif tous les jours parce que ce phénomène est produit par le racisme. Voilà.
Bien compris. Moi, je peux présenter.你需要跟大家说一下你的问题吗？
谁？你说？
就是
对，讲一下中文啊。
你共同有机，
Moi j'ai compris.
就是说在法国，他有那个罗梅东，他有一本书在翻译那个就是够的安迪坚呐。对，他那个这本书很有趣的一个点是说，就是说够的安迪坚呐，他有一个很有趣的点，就是说在殖民地的人民，他是拥有法国国籍，可是他却没有法国的权利。对这一点上，我觉得他有点像是阿冈本他们讲的
例外状态。
例外状态，可是又不太一样，因为阿冈本的例外状态，它是启动于国家权力启动于那个紧急状态，可是殖民地的例外状态，它启动于是所谓的种族主义，然后就像那个刚刚那个朱老师讲的，他讲的 camp， 它是一个所谓的战争期间，可是就像我讲的刚才的殖民地的例外状态，它是每天都来的，它是一个相当常态的例外状态，这是一个相当不同的对。然后我觉得这个点跟我们今天讲的很有趣，因为我们今天讲的其实都如果说很大概来说都是一种很常态的那种所谓的例外状态。
对，这就是 local 的殖民状态呀。
对吧？
对 local 年轻人，尤其
就是在
邦六的这个，他会被
对啊，就像移民，就像移民，对啊，就
就
像那个一些尼孔或者是就像德基的原来他是用的尼孔，他们都会有这样子的。
migrate，就是移民的第二代。
移民的，他们其实都有受到这样的一个
对待。